Everyone has the one who got away. Rose had Jack Dawson. Katy Perry had that guy who died in a car accident in that really elaborate music video where she dressed as an old woman and sat in a closet. I had a nice guy named Eric who, lo and behold, was still dating his girlfriend, so okay Eric, good for you. And Will had Vince. And tonight, we get a little bit of closure in that department. But we have to build to that. The episode starts with Jack busting in, per usual, and he reveals the biggest character twist I've ever seen on television. Guys, I can't even recap it. I'll just have to quote it, I'm just gonna say it. I had a terrific morning at church. I know, mind you, he flips that really quickly and says the apostles are just the name for gay best friends, to which Grace says, you're gonna hate Leviticus. But the topic changes, Vince is back. Yeah, that Vince. The wonderful Bobby Cannavale is back in his perfect boyfriend glory, toting homemade soaps for everyone around. And with that, Sister Hagdalini and Old Testicle leave so Will and Vince can have their space. It doesn't take long for them to fall back in their old relationship ways, but it doesn't last. Vince showed up to tell Will that he's getting married to his current partner. He tells Will that he's invited because he wants him to be happy. But guys, who has ever been pumped about an ex getting married? If Vince doesn't have you hyped though, let me paint the next scene very clearly for you. With no segue, Jack shows up in a pink rompem and Karen appears with a monkey on her shoulder, which is very nonchalantly part of a scavenger hunt. A monkey is worth 100 points, while a Kardashian is only worth 80. The fact that we never got a Jack and Karen spin-off is one of the greatest television injustices we've ever had. Back in the apartment, Will is spiraling over Vince's wedding even though he insists that he's fine. It's too relatable. How many times have you sat and thought what went wrong? Grace convinces Will that he should join them at the wedding, which is loaded with policemen for Grace and Jack to ogle. Jack finds his way through all the uniforms by targeting the one guy whose favorite show is This Is Us. Mandy Moore is truly perfect. At their table, Karen calls Ivanka, yes, that Ivanka, to tell her that she is going to win the scavenger hunt this year, even without the help of the Russians. And as Grace observes the room, she's just happy that Will didn't. Oh wait, Will's here. Will takes Vince aside because he has one question, but Grace intercepts him because she doesn't want him to make a mistake. And speaking of mistakes, Jack reappears with that adorable little nugget cop whose favorite show is This Is Us, and it appears that this was his first ride on, There's no good way to say this, is there? The cop can't let Jack go and admits that he loves him now. Jack shuts it down really hard, but Officer Drew just says, I love you so much. It doesn't take long before Officer Drew's wife shows up and suggests that her husband and Jack should have a boys' weekend. Yikes. While Jack escapes Officer Drew, Vince pulls Will in for a picture with him and his husband, but Will criticizes his pose and then asks for the dressing to be removed from the table because it looks tacky. It's finally enough for Vince to snap. He broke up with Will because he always picked at him. Will says, so you broke up with me because you didn't like me, and Vince says, I broke up with you because you didn't like me. It all falls further apart when Will tries to give a toast and falls back into his own picking ways. The only thing more awkward is when Grace stands up to give a toast to why, oh wait. They just keep giving toasts back to each other. But Vince stops it all to tell Will that the love he has for Will never diminish, and even though it's over, he'll always think of Will as the one who got away. Later in the bathroom, Vince grabs Will to ask him to tell him he's not making a mistake, and Will explains that Vince is doing the right thing. Vince tells Will that even though they didn't make a marriage happen, he'll always think of him as his ex-husband, and all of a sudden, I'm okay with the idea that the actual finale was Karen's dream, but even with Vince staying with his husband and Will and Grace still being alone, Karen is walking away stronger than ever. She nabbed the police badge, putting her higher than Ivanka Trump in scavenger hunt points. Praise.